Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Friday stream. We're back, and today we're going to be talking about edge in poker, which is kind of the thing you need to make poker a profitable pursuit or an income. Edge manifests itself to different extents in different spots. And the reason that you want to become more aware of where it's larger or smaller or non-existent or even negative is that earlier on in a hand, you have the choice to enter different parts of the game tree. For example, you have the chance to 3-bet someone pre-flop or flat. You have the chance to 3-bet the big blind or fold with king 6 off. You have the choice between raising a gutter on the flop or just calling the flop c-bet. And understanding where your population, your opponent pool, makes the most mistakes and how they might give you edge later on in the game tree can inform you on which part of the game tree to choose and when and to what extent to deviate from the theoretical norms that you might have learned through taking a course like the Carrot Poker School, for example. If you're looking to take the Carrot Poker School or any other courses on Carrot Corner and start your formal, structured, comprehensive poker education, don't forget to use code CRUSH20 for 20% off all courses and bundles at Carrot Corner. Link in the description. So we're going to two-table. I'm going to be quite conscious of edge today. I'm going to chat to you guys and take questions and hang out for an hour and a half or so. Maybe 2 hours. We'll see how we go. We'll need to eat at some point. I've been on vacation for a bit. Not vacation. I never know what people mean when Americans say vacation. Like, do they mean that they've been literally like in the sun somewhere on a beach? Do they just mean away from the office? I've been away from my desk anyway. I've been doing family stuff for a week or so. Came back to a pile of admin yesterday. It was like the initial slump of getting over the big pile of admin. Always a pain. But we've got there now. And we're rocking and rolling again. We're back on the grind. We're back on the content grind, I should say. Back to coaching. Back to creating YouTube content. Lost 2 YouTube videos because randomly the settings on OBS were just messed up. So this is a spot, King 8, where the open is break even. You'll see that snap fold for my opponent there. What that means is that they have a chart on, like a fast fold chart. And some people set that very intelligently in that they only fold the very bottom 10 or 15% of hands. And the reason you might want to do that is that it's twofold. One, there are exploitative opens available for you against people who auto-fold, and you want to be aware of where those are. But secondly, you want to be protecting yourself against unusually small opens as well. This spot is kind of blood from a stone on this run out when it goes check check. Sorry, the stream is playing. Need to just mute that. Okay. So we get snap called here. Absolutely snap called. Another place edge comes from is noticing timing. I think when we get snap called on the flop, the likelihood that we get bluffed, we get jammed on the turn is much lower. And with this hand, I can kind of go either way. I do feel like ace-king is quite a large part of range on this node, but there's also like jacks and tens and stuff. My main plan was to bluff smaller and value bet bigger on river. And my idea with this is basically that if they have like jacks, tens, something like this, I think they're pretty unlikely to fold to this line to a big sizing, so I went for pot there. And if they have ace-king that's not called the flop, they're very likely to fold to a smaller sizing, like half pot, because this pool is mainly going to be looking at its absolute hand strength and looking at the amount of money that's gone in with the line. So when we get there on the river there, our main goal is to just maximize EV against villain's most likely calling range on the river, which is jacks and tens. it's very unlikely they check call a queen at that pace, at that timing. And it's possible they check call something like ace, king, ace, queen at some frequency. But if they have ace, king, ace, queen, the chances of being paid are not very high for any sizing. So we want to bluff small value, bet bigger on that kind of node. I'm going to size up here. I expect people to be fairly inelastic with draws, jack X, that sort of region. Over here, we start with the check. And it's going to be an exploit focus in today's session. We're mainly thinking about maximizing true EV from a theoretical baseline. The usual stuff. So on this node, villain bet small on flop, which means that they probably have some amount of like king, queen, ace, queen. Stuff like this. Obviously, our hand is a check on river. The question is, how often do they bet under pair on flop or ace 5 or something like that? We do a pretty good job of unblocking the most likely bluffs here, which are like ace 5, something like 7-6, pocket 5s, that kind of thing. So I think our hand is actually an okay call. If villain bets river, they're saying now that they have king queen that they didn't bet on turn, ace queen that they didn't bet on turn, something like this, which is plausible. But bet check bet there could easily be overbluffed if people are stabbing flop randomly with underpair, which I think some of that is going on in this pool, so probably would have check called river there. Hey, Frightened Swan, what's going on? Mick on Twitch as well. What is going on, guys? Lamb in the chat, trolling as usual. Normality is restored in the carrot corner. In the carrot corner domain, online space, world. This morning. Yeah, there was no stream last Friday. I could have done a better job of actually putting out like some announcements in the Discord. Sorry, I just kind of like... Sometimes I reach a point where I've just like had enough of work and I had so much house stuff to do. And my wife was stressing out about the state of the house, and we were having like her family over, and my dad and stepmom over as well for like a barbecue. The weather was a storm, by the way, for the barbecue specifically. Good old Scotland. So this spot's break even in theory. I think there'll be a little bit of edge from the fact that people aren't that great post flop out of position, and the fact that the blinds are both looking relatively tight so far. So that shifts it to being a slight open. This hand is literally break even on the right. I don't care whether I play it or not. I will usually make that decision based on whether I have a hand on another table. If I think something is truly like very close to 0 EV, I will just ask myself, how busy am I if I'm 4-tabling? Am I involved in a 3-bet pot, 4-bet pot, that kind of thing? Maybe going for some 3-bet with Jack 4, but it's going to be more call than 3-bet. And I will take ace deuce here, even though it's like slightly marginal, but button cutoff, I want to play as many of those spots generally as possible. It's called 4-bet, there's not much we can do here. They charge you to use time banks now, says Mick on Twitch. Yes, they do. I tried 4-tabling on stream, unless I'm like on my A game and not really talking as much to you guys. It doesn't go that well. Villain pots here, we're completely indifferent on this node. Honestly, when the board is paired like this, we should just note that like the pair on the board and its redraw are not that good. I'm going to fold here. A 4 is extremely vulnerable to villain's bluffing range. Pot as a delayed c-bet size is a good sizing, and it's a good bluff sizing, but you don't want to infer based on the fact that something would be a good line as a bluff that your opponent is bluffing a lot with that line. If they're someone that's aggressive, they'll very often just be c-betting flop at a very high frequency. If they have a draw, they'll be c-betting flop at a very high frequency. When they check back flop and then pot it, they're either, you know, using some lower equity bluffs now and just understanding that there's a ton of folds for pot on that node and doing a good job of that, or they're making up for lost ground. And the way this pool typically plays, I wouldn't be surprised to just see a lot of like weak queen there and stuff like that. We go one big blind here. Aces, of course, we're going to call for. And very high frequency bluff with this hand. going to be sizing down a bit on this turn card. And go for like 2/3 pot or so when I'm double barreling this kind of texture. In terms of generating edge in this spot, what people are going to do a bad job of is slow playing the turn against that bet when they have a flush or straight. They're going to be raising too frequently because GTO just does slow play against polarized aggression. It does just slow play a lot of hands like flushes that would heavily block the calling range if they raise, right? So when your opponent calls turn without too much thinking there, and you have a diamond blocker anyway to block like some mediocre to bad flushes, you're probably generating some edge by triple barreling the river. There's a lot of pair plus draw hands, pair plus diamond, pair plus straight draw, weakest top pair. There's a lot of hands you can envision that can go queen 9 is super close in these positions. It might be a fold actually. There's plenty of hands you can envision on the right. They're just going call, call, fold. In order to meet a defense frequency, in theory, villain is going to have to like take some nutted stuff to the river or really station river with just bluff catchers. And I don't think either is really happening in that spot specifically, which means there'll be some edge by just always betting turn rather than rolling. Because our hand is kind of dead if raised anyway, and we're going to get raised too linear and too strong. So getting raised isn't really a problem because it happens with too many value hands, and we almost get to like aggress more freely into the range that just calls turn there. On that specific texture, do I want to take a 6 against under the gun? Probably not, but in general I will push the boundaries a little bit in that spot. I'll push them much more against cutoff or hijack than against under the gun though. And so Fire, what's going on? Hi Pete, will you recommend Zoom or regular for poker players? I remember you said Zoom is a terrible game. It's not a terrible game, but like you have to be very, very good to have an edge in a pool like this. It's a tougher game because there are less horrible recreational players. There are some, but generally people are using the fast fold charts. They're staying out of trouble. They can click on to the next hand. There's less personal vendetta or tilt happening. Win rate in BB per 100 is lower. Hands per hour is higher. But generally the former outweighs the latter, and therefore reg tables are commonly seen as more beatable than Zoom. That's not to say that you shouldn't play Zoom. I do, because this is content, and it's by far the best format for content. I think these games are beatable, but there aren't many people that beat them at a big clip pre-rake back at all. There are a couple that I know of. And in order to do that, you have to be very, very good, right? So like you need to be honest with yourself. Like if you're playing 50 NL, are you going to be able to beat the rake? Are you be able to beat like 9, 10 BB per 100 in rake? And the answer from most people is no. Could you beat reg tables by table selecting a bit? You know, like exploiting weaker players, that sort of thing? Yes, probably more easily than, I'm not saying you could, but there's more chance of that than you being able to beat Zoom. I'm not going to play raise on this node at all with King Queen. I don't think it's much of a thing in theory anyway, and I don't see any edge by doing that whatsoever with this hand in these positions against pool. I'm just going to call. If villain starts checking, I'm going to go bet, because I expect aces and kings to like freak out but not fold, if that makes sense, on this card. It's generally how humans play. Very close with sevens. You can peel the sizing its likely range. Villain goes for 2/3 here. Jam... I mean, you could jam this node, but I think call is... I'm going to go with call. I think it's a bit better. It's close, though. It's very close. You could jam that node. I think now we just mostly lose. I expect the bluffing range to be strong stuff. Aces with a club, kings with a club now gets there. Yeah, I mean, it's possible villain has like kings, no club, but they're not going to bluff that like hardly ever in these games. They're just hoping for check here and going to fold to all in. 5-4, we can put in some 3-bet. This is fine. Yeah, there's just no way that we can continue here. That's one of the advantages to calling, is that you do save some money on certain runouts or against certain parts of villain's range. Jamming is not better against that many hands when you're in position, because if villain does have like king's club and checks river, they're probably going to call anyway on a brick river. If the river's a club, you would have got stacked by shoving turn against that regardless. If they have ace queen, you save money by not shoving turn. If they have ace king with a club, you want to jam turn. You maybe want to jam turn against that, but you block a bunch of the combos of it. Mandatory open with king 8 against someone that's probably using fast fold chart, by the way. And yeah, there's edge by calling turn there, because we expect river to get really underbluffed on a lot of runouts, and we can make informed decisions. Like, we'd be close to indifferent against a GTO bot, tripling that river. Against a human, we are nowhere near indifferent, so we actually have edge in the line where we continue by calling. We don't have edge in the line where we shove turn. So shove turn just has to be wrong there, because even if it's like a thing in theory, and I don't think it is, but even if it is a thing in theory, it's not as good in practice because there's just no edge on that branch, right? And there is edge on the call branch. Do we ever get bluffed there on that run out? It's not impossible, but villain would have to be barreling turn with something incredibly low equity on the worst turn ever for their range, which is almost unheard of in this game. Or they would have to be turning like a value bet into a bluff on the river like kings no club, which probably doesn't even bet turn like that anyway. Honestly, I just expect a very, very strong range in that spot. Even when they bet turn, I expect a really strong range, and like the immediate exploit of not shoving turn is perhaps best justified by just referencing the fact that they're under bluffing the turn and they have a hand that beats us more often than they should. I'm not going to lead this particular combo, although you can. I'm actually going to favor check raise with it, I think. I think people are betting a bit too much here. They are under the gun. It is half pot, though. I think I'll actually just float. And, of course, look to bluff river or do stuff here. I'm going to just go for pot here. I expect this to be pretty underprotected. I mean, they might check range here. I don't know, but we have some backdoor and overcard. That kind of thing. How often are they bluffing this node? I think almost never. This is a bet blood from a stone. I'm going to do this and hope they do something silly. Or just call ace high. I'm just kind of like trying to get called. Oh, it's such a shame. Yes, exactly threes. We lose out big time with that sizing against threes specifically, but it's not a big enough part of range to care about. Mainly villain has ace king, ace queen, or something that's just air. So you want to pick a sizing that ace king, ace queen can cry and call, and air can raise effectively. Just like thinking about the compartments of villain's range here. Probably this player will stab too wide, because that's what people do, and maybe call a bit too wide here. I think with ace queen, I will just call. This is quite thin, but because I expect them to be over bluffing and kind of playing straightforwardly thereafter. If they check turn, I will bluff river. I think there's just enough like merges, like 6s, 10s, 7s, betting flop. I think I will turn this into a bluff on river. When they bet again, we have sort of bluff catcher plus redraw. I don't expect the bluff catch element of this to be that good, or the implied odds element of this. This is already like kind of close. The overcards are like okay, I guess. I expect this double barrel range on that card to be kind of strong. Obviously, we do the classic carrot man thing of just timing out because we're rambling, but yeah, I think that's close anyway and not a big deal. Yo, actually, I know it has been too long. I feel like we never talk anymore, man. Like, what's going on? Are you still playing? How's poker? How's life? Next coaching session with Christoph will be when he is back from his vacation. He's currently in Les Alpes, as he calls it, I think, running and walking and sitting around playing bridge and talking to bridge players and drinking red wine. I think that's what he's doing. So I'm obviously very envious. Again, I'm not going to bother donking. They're just leading a lot. I'm going to play a check raise game instead. And with a hand that actually has to fold to turn aggression here, I am going to pure check raise. Because they're overdoing the flop C bet and then probably barreling turn at like an okayish frequency. Let's check raise ace queen here as well. Pool's reopening the spot pretty regularly. The very mergy range, and if they're going to reopen anyway, we just want them to bet the bottom and the middle and the top. I would want to check raise against it. How deep are we here? Can I get away with sizing this up a bit? I think I can. Go for quite a large check raise here with ace queen. Kind of annoying that we don't cooler a queen anymore. Villain can definitely just have jacks or something here. There's a thing going on in this spot whereby the stations who don't believe you still don't believe you. So if they do have tens or jacks, you'll just see people randomly call you down in that node. Jacks, we can go either way. I'm going to call this time, but you can... Oofed. Making the bolts today, guys. Hitting the bolts today. But you can obviously 4-bet there too. I'd be inclined to 4-bet fold against Bill. I'll go for call with the Omega nuts in the 3-bet pot here. And I think just low playing turn here is pretty automatic. Like overpairs beat all sort of 2-pair that can materialize. They should be going for 3 streets anyway. King Queen is drawing dead. Ace Queen Ace King can start over bluffing here if they want to. It's a bit blood from a Stony. I think villain has Ace Queen Ace King a lot here. Probably not King Queen. Probably some tens. We block a jack, which would reopen. I'm going to go for check jam. It kind of sucks, honestly, the spot now for getting paid. I'm going to go for check jam, but I don't know if that's right, honestly. It's not totally clear. I guess this is mostly like tens. Check jam kind of sucks when you block a jack, because that's the main bet call. Sometimes they just randomly play really nittily as well, with like queens or something here in this spot. Very counterintuitive spot to bluff. Most people never ever bluff with the line I've taken here, so might be somewhat difficult to get paid. Let's start with check again, just like a board I'm going to be checking really often, and I think pool is just doing this far, far too often. You could check raise here. On this specific texture, I'm just going to opt for check call. Does he have queens? Time bank chip. So flop's fairly mergy. On the 4, I don't like check raise, so I will just bet. You're just heroes with tens. There you go. You never know. Sometimes they get paranoid. So yeah, the thing is, if tens is not value betting, if hands like that aren't value betting, that makes check jam really bad and makes bet a lot better. I just think there's a shortage of hands. I think there's a big shortage of hands that are value betting. Sorry, what am I trying to say here? There's a shortage of hands that are good enough to call a big bet that wouldn't just value bet themselves. There aren't many hands like that, right? So villain has ace, queen, ace, king, he might just bluff. He's probably not calling if we bet. And if he does have like queens that got freaked on turn, or like the few combos of jack X that are left, they're probably going to bet anyway. The name of the show should be Coaching Christoph. We've had Coaching Chris, there's Coaching Christy on Deuces Cracked back in the day, now there's Coaching Christoph. Yeah, as long as your name is some derivative of Christoph, then yeah, you're going to be... You got to use that branding, basically. The only thing is, with this format, actually, I'd love to have you on. I'll have you on soon. But with this format, like pulling up hand histories to like play and review is really annoying. It just doesn't work with this format I've got on GG right now with like the replayer and things like that. I'll have you on when I've got no delay and we're doing a review stream or something though. Let's definitely do that soon. Hit me up. Love to have you on, man, and catch up with you. Just this isn't really the format for it. This is definitely not the format to have Sam on. We know this from experience, don't we, chat? We know this. I guess people just like think I'm bluffing. The Bluffosaurus effect, right? So this is a spot where we can generate edge against the 48 VPIP just by being in a 3-bet pot. They're going to under 4-bet usually. They're going to call a lot. And then if we do hit, we just have a great time of things. And if we don't, we still have like skill edge and the ability to do well. I'm going to play a smaller pot with Jack 10 here because I'm involved over there. I'm going to flop a straight flush. We're actually just going to go ahead and flop a straight flush. And we're going to check raise the straight flush as well. And here we are going to bet. Apparently not. I'm going to go for check raise with the straight flush again. Oh, wow. The plot thickens. The 6-card straight flush. Going to be calling down here on the left, to be honest, after we've now checked flop accidentally. I prefer betting flop by quite some margin, by the way. I think maybe check raise again is good. I mean, it sucks to make no money, but he just doesn't want to bluff ace 4 of diamonds at any point. think they should be bluffing river there 100% of the time with that hand. What can you do? Just check down a straight flush. Friendly game, friendly game. We can't make villain fold a 10 here, really. 7s or 8s a possibility. It's a very small part of a 48 VPip range. Clear check. Sometimes they've just binked this queen. Honestly, when they don't bet river, I'm not feeling that great about it because I expect them to just bluff a lot when they have this VPip. But there you go. I mean, this is... Okay, that hand isn't really proof of why, but just like, I can't stress enough just how good it is to isolate weaker players in position in a 3-bet pot. Here, this is close between 3-bet and call. I think I prefer just call in these positions. The thing is, it sounds very basic, but I kind of want to see what the flop is when I have queen 10. This guy shoves, we have ace king suited, we probably just have to call. With ace king suited, ace king off, I don't feel like I have to call. 10s, okay. I kind of want to see what the flop is, and then just check raise when I hit, and just play the sort of mining game against this kind of player. This is generally how it's going to go. Against half pot in these positions, I mean, their range is far too wide for this. Clearly, like, they're opening too wide, they're c-betting too wide for that sizing, they're lacking definition, their range is sprawling. It's all over the place. So you just want to play check call here. They didn't bluff river before when given opportunity. I'm going to go for... I'll go for B10 or B whatever this is. Yeah, I think so. It's a few ways you can go in river. You can check call, you can do this and then decide what to do. You bet slightly bigger than this as well. Because they're volatile and they've got the 49 VPip, I probably will call a raise. I don't love it on the king. But because it's just a high VPip recreational, the reason I'm not looking at check there is that they just didn't bluff river in a spot they easily could have with very poor showdown value a minute ago, which maybe indicates that they just aren't much of a river bluffer, in which case I just want to prioritize making a bet against like try and call ace high and random pair. Call this time with king 5. When are you posting the graph? I want the sample to be a bit bigger before I post the graph. I'm okay with small samples. I was thinking about doing a stream actually where I like play all day one day, like free up a whole day, play, post the graph every hour of the session, see how much money we can make in the session, like make it a bit fun. Then it's obviously not about like credentials or anything like that. This is fine-ish. Small sizing, obviously, just attacking what I think is a range bet most of the time. You could do this pure in this pool, actually. The thing that I'm not big on is medium samples, like medium to small, big samples, if that makes sense. Because if a graph is being posted for credentials, like rather than for entertainment, then it should be of a big sample. It should be like, you know, not just 60,000 hands. I've got 63,000 hands, I think, in this pool now. Something like that. I'm going to be giving up here with this hand and going nuts with like jack 10s and things like this now. That sort of thing on the rainbow board, but not king 5. So yeah, I mean, it's going to... I think like 100k is not even very good, but it's at least better than what I've got now. So I might consider it there, or I might like look at 150, 200k. The idea of playing like 400,000 the way life is just not going to happen anytime soon, so we've got to be realistic. This spot's just very low fold equity in general. We're selling the story that like we didn't value bet the turn, but now we're going to bomb the river. Like, it's just a bit weird. I don't expect it to perform well at all against a human. And you'd have to bluff so sparingly in GTO. It would be really difficult to keep it reined in enough. You can 3-bet the queen 10 smaller versus 3x open. Sure, yep. I don't mind it. Like, I think it's very close. I think both lines are very close in EV. Looking at the flop and just keeping villain wide, and then like check raising and inflating pots when you hit big, and otherwise just outplaying them is attractive. 3-betting, building the pot with a hand that can become huge. Yeah, you do have some kicker issues, like sometimes in a 3-bet pot, it's not a huge deal. You have to navigate a bit more carefully sometimes in that spot, but It's fine. Yeah, making the pot big with queen 10 against the recreational player is okay. I much prefer it in position, where I have absolute control of everything. But yeah, it's absolutely fine. We're trying not time down anymore. That's the mission for today. Don't time down it. Don't time down anymore. Yeah, I agree. I can 3-bet to 9 big blinds. I'm just not convinced it's better than call. It might be. It might be better than call. I'm not sure. Are you just thinking that the hand is just a bit too good? Like that you don't want to not build the pot with it against the recreational in case things go well? Like, is that the idea? I could see that being the case. I think Queen Jack, King Jack, I'm just always 3-betting these hands. Queen 10, I'm just like very on the fence about. I don't really care. I might be undervaluing the 3-bet branch a bit. And, you know, weaker players can just capitulate in 3-bet pots as well. Like when there's a lot of pressure, they can start to play very, very badly. So when we flop very big, the implied odds can be very good in a 3-bet pot. You get a lot of random spew. Just isolating here with the King 8 suited. I expect this to be like any 2 cards. I think this is good enough. Close to any 2 cards. We do have a couple of pink tags here, so we'll go ahead and do this. Morning, Ian Clark. How's it going? I recognize your name from a while back. B200 or check here. On Double Broadway. This is in a new course. It's the first chapter of the new course, actually, or first few videos. And then it's like delayed c-bet. So the nodes you want to practice a lot if you are playing the big flop sizing is turn delayed c-betting and facing probe, because you end up checking the flop a lot. As the bigger you go, you know, you have this thing called betting volume that dictates how much money you can put in based on range versus range and how well your range is doing, at least in theory. I can do a bit of 4-bet with this hand, but whatever. And the higher your betting volume, the higher your frequency can be for betting at all sizes. If you go B200 though, your frequency is always going to be a lot lower. You'll be more polarized than if you were going smaller. So if you are playing B200, you're playing a lot of check. Your bet frequency generally on the B200 textures fluctuates between like 25 and 40%. And so you're checking back 60 to 75% of the time on those textures, break even open but small blind mark, so taking the spot. And so getting good at the nodes you encounter the most often is a very good place to start, and that's why in the new course, whose initials are MM, spoilers coming later on what the course is actually called, we are starting off delayed c-bet, double delayed c-bet, bet check bet, sorry, not bet check bet, check bet bet, like these kind of lines first, facing probe, and then river bet, facing the bet after check, check, check. Like, we're doing all those lines first because they're the ones that, at least on those low checking textures, like the big B200 check textures, those are the nodes you're going to encounter the most, right? So we're trying to build systematically by focusing on the spots that are the most frequent first. That's the idea. Who likes the thumbnail, by the way, for the stream? Anyone a fan? That's 3-bit checks. Villain calls. I'm going to be playing B33 on this texture, or check. Mostly check with his hand, but either's okay. Bet frequency slightly higher with a heart, probably, but I don't really care. And this is just a call. In terms of them stabbing this texture, they're not overdoing it so much in a 3-bit pot on the flop, according to data. According to data. Check, check. Snap check on the queen. 9s. 10 is a very bad card in this. Well, if they have a 10, I expect them to barrel the turn. A lot of the time as a bluff if they have like Jack 10. I think I'll go for check on river here. But block is interesting as well. Yeah, maybe block is better, actually. I don't want to be too results oriented. Obviously, 9s, it's better to block when villain has 9s specifically. Yeah, we block too many bluffs with the jacks, actually. It's too... I should have thought about that more. It's blocking too many danglers. Villain can have just hit like ace 10, king 10, which I don't actually expect to bet turn. I'm talking nonsense. I don't expect those hands to bet turn that often. He also snap checks turn, which is more indicative of like medium strength hands like 9s and 8s and stuff like that than it is of a queen or heir. So the more villain has a queen or heir, the more you want to check there. And the more they have like 9s, 7s, etc., whatever is in a set, I forget now, the more you want to bet there. So we wanted to bet that river, we just didn't. We didn't take enough time to think about it. We're doing that thing where we're a bit lazy. And this happens sometimes in my game. I just get slightly lazy. I don't think things through properly. And I will play some raise with the backdoor one. I'm playing a very small sizing, so we are going to play a bit of raise with the Queen X backdoor and then look to slow down if called. This is going to make it in there. So the toolkit in the new course is a very small raise against a range bet, and that's one that you can do more mergy than you would think, right? Some top pairs, second pairs, third pair on the board, hybrid raises like that, all manner of bluffs. There's a lot of hands you can raise, like pocket pair on lower board, lots of stuff you can raise, and you're dragging your opponent down this branch of the tree where like flop gets raised, and it's just a bit less comfortable and familiar for them. They don't get to play the double barrel node that often, which is a node that people are by and large okay at these days. So I like to take them out of the nodes they're okay at and just have a toolkit that takes them into lines where they don't play so well. Gonna call ace 10 here. I need to see the flop against recreationals, but the hand is not good enough to squeeze. I'm gonna be playing range 1 big blind on this board. And clear check on turn after 1 big blind. Your hand is just a bit too good in late position here to be barreling. Although you're taking the worst of it, you have too much showdown to want to bet. If villain bets 3-4 bets 1 big blind, we are meant to defend against that at a frequency with this hand. We can probably also fold this hand at some frequency. Just in case it's being overbluffed, we'll just call, but I don't know. It could be never bluffed. I don't know, but when it's overbluffed, it's really overbluffed, right? That's the problem with folding. You could just... I'm actually very indifferent there. Very, very indifferent. Good sizing by villain. I think that's one of the stronger players in the pool, it looks like. Are you grinding the leaderboards? No, I'm not a grinder. I'm just making you guys content, and I'm slowly amassing a sample. I'm trying to play well and play for a max win rate. That's what I'm trying to do. No grinding or anything like that. This is not like a channel where I'm trying to grind out money at 100 NL. This is an educational channel, and that's basically what we're doing. Okay, so even hitting 1 pair with Queen 10, like you're not that worried about it in those positions. You still think it's just like really good. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I maybe undervalued that part of the game tree a little bit. I think you're probably right. My instinct was to 3-bet, and then I was like, meh, I don't care. Ace 4 deuce two-tone. I'm going to be playing 1 big blind mix on this texture. Ace queen, anything is good here. I'm going to fold to the bigger 3-bet in these positions, actually. And yeah, going to be either betting or checking here. Doesn't matter, but it's going to be 1 big blind when I bet. This is a more polarizing texture to villain's range. Like when you're learning like what are the B200 boards, like what are the overbet boards or the big bet boards, and what are the boards you just want to bet small on. By the way, you can bet small on any board as a simplification if you really want to. But the main way to put that together is that when villain can have meaningful trips or a pair of aces or kings that they've hit on the board, it's more polarizing for them. And when your overpairs are reigning supreme, it's less polarizing for them and you can play the bigger bet. But when it's more polarizing for them, you generally play the smaller bet. Go check Jack 8 here. And actually just do... You could just range bet small on this board as well. That's like a thing you can do. I think you get quite a bit of transparency by checking this specific board in this configuration. You do give up some stuff by doing that too, of course. And go for like something like pot. I could go B120 here actually as well. Maybe B120 is a bit better. I'm a little bit sluggish today. Just getting back into the swing of things, thinking about poker again. Try and play a bit better. It's hard when you're ranting. I try and focus a bit more when I'm in hand, because I do want to show you guys like playing a game and not just like figuring out all of my mistakes 2 seconds after I press a button. That's my default mode when I'm streaming sometimes, like press a button and then be like, oh wait, shit. I'm gonna call because of this 44 VPIP here. This is very close in theory between all 3 options, so call is now best. And this could get interesting. I'm going to be taking a look at flop here as well with Queen 8. I'm going to bet small. Hand benefits a ton from protection. It can get there later. It's a very useful hybrid bet. And we can even do some bluffing later on certain runouts as well if we so choose. I think bet here is pretty multi-purpose. It does come with the disadvantage of reopening. Now, depending on turn, like this turn, we're not going to be turning the hand into a bluff. There's not enough fold equity from better. We just have a bit too much showdown. So Jack 10, Jack 8, 10, 8, things like this. It's a bit weird. They do merge like a 7 like this sometimes as well, though. I think fold's reasonable. Some of these recreations as well, they're not even bluffing with mandatory bluffs like Jack 10 there, that you see them check it down a lot. So I think fold is okay in that spot when they've filtered their multi-way. They're small blind, not big blind. If they're big blind there, I'm more inclined to call river, actually. Easy 3-bet with ace king. There we go, Lam. We have a pair in a 3-bet pot against a recreational player. I'm going to keep this small. Like, the SPR is lower. I want to leave room for, like, weird, silly stuff. As well as just, like, building the pot smoothly and comfortably against, like, ace-queen. I'm going to achieve both things at once. If this goes check, 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 I'm going to bluff river big. So guys, remember to use code CRUSH20 at Carrot Corner if you are picking up a course this weekend or anything like that. CRUSH20 is still live for as long as we're doing these streams. I get 20% off everything. Packages, even stuff that's already discounted, like the Golden Carrot package or the Full Scholarship package. Get 20% further off with code CRUSH20, one word. Top link, or only link in the description. Here we go. Russian Cash Fridays, splash pot, $10 in the middle. Let's get it with the 9 deuce of spades. Not far from a limp. I don't think I will with this many people behind. But yeah, button, you can tempt me. Maybe. Maybe not. My splash pot game is not the strongest. I think I've got some feel for what's going on, but it's definitely not the strongest. And checking back on 7-5-4 with ace 8 against a stack. So quite a bit of raising going on. My hand doesn't tolerate raising very well. I like to see turns and stuff. We have some showdown. I think check's a bit better than bet, but it's very close. Against this sizing, do we want to raise? There are some merges here. But I think the EV from just letting villains dead hands bluff river is a bit too high, given how crazy wide this could be. And I will value bet if check 2 here. And I will call the villain bets. Almost any sizing. It's a very good catcher. And it's a random looking recreational player. I am going to call. I'm not in love with this. When recreationals do this, I'm generally not in love with it. Because they're generally getting greedy. But I think with this catcher, against the range that could be anything pre, I think we still have to flick it in. But it sucks against that sizing. It's very, very winning against other sizes. Against that sizing, it kind of sucks. Yeah, we'll just check it over here. I was going to play an insane amount of hours to reach the top of the leaderboards, but my PVI seems to be pretty low because I receive less rakeback points than other players. Yeah, depends on how you're running. That can actually change quite rapidly over the course of like a month, depending on like whether you hit a downswing. So I guess the right time to like cram the volume is when they've just reduced your PVI because you ran bad and they think you're a loser now. That certainly used to happen on Stars a lot, where they would change it like every few weeks, depending on how you've been running. I think it happens on GG as well. Yeah, it depends what you think your pre-break back win rate is as well, right? Whether you think you're making anything there is tough. I'm going to play third pot here. That's not a thing that I would do against a competent player, but I think it's absolutely fine. A 4-bet they check off this time. This should catch your eye, right? 64 VPIP in the small blind. Should always be something that's on your radar. And definitely 3-betting jacks here against 26 VPIP recreational player in big blind. This is awkward. I think cold call is the best play here. Definitely not a fold. 4-bet reopens to this player, which is not great. Because if we get 5-bet, we don't really love it. I think just always seeing flop and usually against both of them is better. So one of the rare instances where I think cold call is right. Check back on this board. Probably queens, slow plays, some ace queen. I don't see a lot of merit in betting turn here. What does villain have when they snap check turn? Tens, nines, queens, ace queen. I think the raise frequency is non-existent. I'm going to go for B33. Maybe like ace 5 and stuff as well, actually. I can maybe go a bit bigger here. Probably bigger is fine. I want to get caught by ace queen sometimes or ace high sometimes. So like that sizing is going to achieve that. If I go 2/3 pot, I make more from like tens, nines, ace 5. I make less from ace queen, probably. Although you never know. I could probably go up to half pot there, a bit bigger. Slight undersell. I do expect to run into like some queens. Yeah, slight. Yeah, I think I should go a bit bigger. Definitely want to value bet river, but I think like half pot is probably a better sizing. Even though like it worked there and we ran into ace 9, like you never know. And these hands might also, like ace queen might just call a bigger bet for the hell of it. Could easily happen. I'm just going to fold this line. Right off the bat, I have a bluff catcher. It's a recreational player. They've check raised me on 9, deuce, 3 ace. I have a, yeah, I don't even have a good catcher. I'm just folding. That line is just kind of bad, like against the recreational in that spot, I think. A bit exploitable, probably, but not even to that much of an extent. Yes, Zach. That's the life, man. I was up at 5:30 today as well. My son slept through the night, but when he does that, the problem is, it's not a problem, but the rude awakening is at like 5:30. So you usually have the choice of like sleeping till 6:15 if he wakes up randomly in the night, which is way worse, or getting a full night's sleep and then he wakes up at like 5:30. I do the early morning shift usually. So yeah, I'm getting a bit that way where I need a break. I've been doing boring admin stuff this morning as well. I just start unleashing here with Ace Queen against this line. There's going to be a lot of like same hand, a lot of like 8s, 10s, etc. I'm probably just going to take a line like absolute blastoid line in that spot. Not the War Turtle line, guys, not the Squirtle line, the Blastoise line. Almost. Let's see if it was the 3-4-6, nearly. Jack's down on a 2.5 here. Yes, I have this player. Just adding half a big blind. I mean, very small adjustment, not a big deal, but I think it's worth doing. Hold in 2 spots. Start with check and see what they have. And they snap check back some 1 pair. Oh man, why is the time bank so low? Why can't I adapt to it, man? I think now I'm checking. I was gonna go like 2x pot, like just start applying immense pressure to the capped ranges. I prefer that line. I like turning jacks into a bluff multi-way here. Like, yes, it's winning a lot. I think we can get like range folds almost. Obviously, it doesn't matter when they have 5s and 6s so much, but yeah, I think we can get range folds there with like some overbets. So just keeping my eyes peeled for that kind of spot. Not playing any raise here against the sizing on this texture when I face turn probe. Just call. And the 5 is good enough just to check here rather than wasting money against like a 10 river queen. There's not enough better hands folding when you're bluffing. Always ask yourself how many better hands in yours are likely to fold river. If the answer is not many, you shouldn't be bluffing. You're quite low down your range there, but you're far from bottom, and it's not a spot people are like checking a 10 to check fold anyway. Double snap check and smaller 3-bet looks like ace high. I kind of agree, which is why I went smaller. But I don't know, I think it could easily just be 10s or something as well. Always squeezing here. Check, huh? Let's start scaring him. Let us scare our opponent, guys. Let us be scary. Oh, I kind of want to isolate this recreational. Oh, I kind of want to cold call as well. The hand's just a bit too bad, though. 3s will take against recreational and big blind. See, this player knows what's up. Playing cold call from button here. Very good idea. Good thing to do. We are playing range check. Check raise pure. Building around. I want to play some overpair here. Yeah, I think I want a sizing that can include some overpair against the reg. But it's mostly going to be trips and 3s, but not a spot for like a giant sizing. I think bet turn is best. People are very tempted on that node. They're just not reopening a lot if you check there. Check's definitely a thing in theory at some frequency. I'm just not going to be doing it ever. Just not good in these lanes. When you start scaring the hell out of them, you don't want to just like suddenly take your foot off the gas, because like people will call you down because they're sticky and they just can't fold, but they're not going to like start blasting you in those spots usually. So although we have the hand that unblocks the queen that could check raise double and unblocks the draw that should stab, people are just going to take too many free cards with a flush draw. We really want a flush draw calling and then hitting. Like, it's not that we want to like check in case they hit the river. Like, they're going to call the flush draw on the turn in position. So just bet again. Shove the river for an overbet. It's fine. They're no longer calling the draw anyway, or check raise if you want on river. They should check back a bunch of trip queens there though, but I don't know if they will, because people are driven by absolute hand strength, right? So always ask yourself, what's the way to exploit the fact that they're driven by absolute hand strength? This is a gnarly spot. With ace king suited, I am going to call. We play mostly call in this spot, I think. Shoving 192, 5-bet folding. 5-bet's okay, actually. Like, 5-bet fold is interesting. I think call. Yeah, min 5-bet, that's just aces. And some bluff and some ace king, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know how this spot goes. Just avoid this for now, just so I can concentrate over here in case I need to. There's probably not much to think about, though. Do I want to start bluffing, though, is the question, because this is a kind of scary spot for them. This range obviously worries me much more than this range. Flirted with the idea. Snap check. I just expect this to be like showdown, like every time, like jacks or something. Almost every single time. Like, snap check on that board, you just have to be playing some mindless showdown value bound line, right? Almost always. Don't worry about what sizing GTO opens, guys. It's not important. Not a source of win rate. It's not something you should focus on. Focus on your hand reading, your ability to decipher relative hand strength from absolute, your value betting, your bluffing, your ability to fold in underbluff spots, your mental game, your practical game, when you play, for how long, the conditions in your home under which you play, your studies, what you're looking at on a daily basis, common post-flop nodes like button, big blind, turn, probe type thing, the right exploits, data, Grady of the Carrot Poker School, cash injection, the full scholarship, the golden carrot. Focus on the important things. Code Crush 20 at checkout. Focus on the important things, guys. Don't focus on whether the solver goes 2.2 or 2.5 pre-flop. Don't worry about that. Block's pretty good with this hand. Pretty good line. This is a very strong hand against this line. I'm actually going to raise here. And raise fold. Like, if they 3-bet me here, I'm just probably completely dead. But we get called by so many lazy mergy pair plus draw, worst 10 that's not really thinking. I think raise is good with that hand. It benefits quite a lot from protection. Doesn't mind too much when it has to raise fold either. What's the logic behind it, though, you're asking? Sorry, New Crusher, I hadn't actually finished reading your comment there. Min raising is good exploitatively against auto fold chart people, which is quite a few of your opponents in these pools, because they will fill out the auto fold chart to some random GTO wizard range and they might not fill it out to defend enough against 2x. And that's the idea with 2x, exploits that a little bit. In theory, it doesn't really matter whether you're 2.3, 2ing, 2.5ing, 3xing button. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. That's just not where EV really resides or where you get an edge. But there are exploitative gains from knowing like when to just expand your opening range for min. I used to 2.5, now I 2. If you made me go back to 2.5, I wouldn't be that upset about it. You know, it wouldn't ruin my game or my edge or anything like that. I'd be fine with it. I don't mean to like shit on that question. It's not a bad question. It's just not like some things look interesting, but they're just not like, they're not hosting a whole lot of like EV relevant stuff. There's not a lot of EV relevant shit contained in these decisions. But like understanding how someone is unbalanced after a flop goes check check and they lead half pot on turn, that's a very important thing that could really affect your EV. So because I'm bluffing and I'm against the recreational, I just downsize this a bit. And if I had value there, I'd go huge. That's specifically against recreationals, I take that exploit. And the thought is that, and this is the sort of thing that is really important to win rate, like by the time they're facing a giant bet, they're either calling or not when you get above like 1.5x pot. So if you're going to max out the flop sizing against the recreational, it's best to do that for value. This is 100 NLJ. Or Jai, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I will take the spot, like 2 big cards, recreational player. I will take it, but it's very marginal. Pure exploit lead. It's a very overfolded spot on this texture. Bet in river there's good as well because there's a lot of one club that calls turn. It's predominantly one club, not pair, that calls turn. So betting brick river is good. Thinking about these things, that's where EV resides. That's where edge resides, right? That kind of stuff. Yeah. So again, being involved with recreational players as much as possible. Expect this to be wildly underprotected. Let's bet. This range is fairly wide. We don't need to worry about it too much. Easy check on this card, of course. Good river. What does villain have? Some underpair, some nothing. Just have a jack. You just have the jack of hearts in your hand. Nah, it's a bit too many like busted straights and stuff here, but yeah, I feel like it's a jack. A lot. That's also another reason why we can't fold is they're just like overvaluing a full house. They're just like, I have a full house. I mean, okay, maybe it is worth pot, but it's a bit like they're not thinking about it in the right way, right, when they do that. 2.5 here with King Jack. See, I'm just like tweaking this up and down a little bit. It doesn't matter greatly, but it's no effort for me just to like click it to 2.5 here. Again, we isolate a recreational player with Jack 9 because it's standard and it drives EV and money flows and all of that. This is where edge resides. What's up, hey Sun God? I love you, Pete the Carrots dude. Thank you very much. I love you, thanks. the ultimate, like, worst thing you can say when someone says, I love you. I love you. Thanks. Check out carrotcorner.com. Crush 20% off. Yeah. Almost eating time. Eating time, eating time, eating time. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten since 5 p.m. No, quarter to 5 p.m. Is that a thing? Yesterday afternoon, went and played bridge last night. Had to leave early to pick up my bridge partner. Didn't have time. Had chicken noodle soup and homemade bread that sunk in the middle. Do you guys need any more details? Let me know if you need any more details. Let's have at it with this. It's 10-6 to diamonds. Come on. So yeah, we're gonna have the rest of the chicken noodle soup and some tuna steaks for lunch. How does that sound, chat? The rest of the chicken noodle soup and some tuna steaks. Keep it high on the protein, low on the carbs. Tomorrow's 7K run day. The good life. 5 a.m. dad life, coffee. Good coffee. No alcohol. No bullshit. Just the good life again. Sizing up. Same reason as before. Checking. Same reason as before. B200 check. Betting. Want pot to grow. Recreational player. Too many good branches not to bet. Yeah, okay. We'll take the check, Evie. We'll take it. No bluff. No bluff with 7-4. Okay. I like 7-4 suited. It's a good hand, right? It's a good hand, chat. This is annoying. I think call against these stacks. You just have to see what's gonna happen here. I'm not someone that buys into this like 3-bet or fold from the small blind. I don't buy into that philosophy. Really, huh? Everyone checks, huh? What do you think about this then? What do you both think about that? You want to fold to it? That's what I thought. So that's where EV comes from. That's where edge comes from. Just having a random hand with 2 overs and just being like, they will not protect themselves. They will not defend enough. I want this. This pot's mine. I'm taking this pot. What's that? You both don't want this pot? You're playing basic poker. You're playing unprotected fit or fold poker. Okay, I'll take the pot then. Thank you. I'll have it. And I'll have lots of little pots like that. And I'll scavenge like a vulture until there's nothing left of your stacks and your bankrolls and your bank accounts and your net worth and your house. Scavenge all the little pots until you're homeless. How does that sound, chat? How does that sound? Can't see that, actually, because you have to have respect for... Shut up. Honestly. These people do my fucking head in, man. What do you guys think about when we just go on, like, complete tangents and argue with ourselves? It's a good TV. Good TV, bad TV. Vote now. Good 2.5 this as well. No, maybe not. Ooh, I kind of want the spot though. Yeah, go on. I'll have a 3-bet pot against the recreational. Queen 10 off is as bad as I'm going. I'm not going to push it too much more than that in the offsuit medium cards department. But Queen 10 gets in there. Pink tag, huh? 1-tabler, huh? I will 3-bet this against a 1-tabler all day. I'm not sure I believe that it's a 1-tabler though. Because sometimes these tags are just wrong. Mr. June. This is just a call generally against the reg. I won't be like putting tons of hands in my 3-bet fold range like this against the reg. Although it's fine. Who cares? I'm gonna get punished here. He would have folded by now. That's the recreational, but we ran into it. The hell are bluffs meant to be here? Like Jack 10? Do I want 2 overs to like 9s? Is that what I want? I don't think I want backdoor straights anymore. I think I want like slightly bigger cards. Yeah, Mr. June, recreational player. Let's flop a straight or trips. That's almost a straight. I think check call and then bluff river is slightly higher EV. What do you check back with? King high, kings, queens, 9x, etc. Best sizing's probably like that. Something big enough to fold out like king, queen. This is 4 straight. I am going to bluff it. I don't love it. I am going to bluff it though. %50 folds seems just about doable. That spot's probably meh. It should be a decent bluff spot. But Mr. June, 7, jams on us once again. We ran into it. Once again. Twice we ran into it against Mr. June. This is hard life. It sounds kind of but if you like it, thanks, Zach. I do like it. Tuna steaks are awesome, man. I mean like fresh tuna steaks. I don't mean like tinned tuna, just to be clear. I don't mean tuna, so that's not a thing. Tuna. Right, small raise time. Jack of clubs in hand. Small raise on most numbers. Raise 70% of the time. That's a call. 74 is a call. 7 turn. Donk bet strategy enabled. And mixing donk. Third pot donk enabled. Evaluating equity. Evaluating equity. Block bet chosen. What? What is this? You have a 7 that you didn't raise on turn to block, but you can snap raise river. Do you just have ace 10 or 10s? Don't believe you. Oh, you have ace 10. Okay. I mean, I believe that you have ace 10 and 10s, but that's really it for value. I don't think you have a 7 with that turn timing and that. I don't think so. So I will call, but yeah. Kind of sucks. Why half pot with king queen though and double flush draw? You have all the sets to swallowbind there. Because I think it's the most efficient sizing for making a fishbowl. I don't care what my range is. I care about the highest EV play against a completely unbalanced check back range. That's what I care about. And you should too. It's also what you should care about. Slightly pushing it with the big bet here as villain on this board. I think it's okay. I think he's pushing it slightly. We're going to check call twice. We're going to roll jack 5. I'd honestly expect this to be quite strong. Like 2 big bets on this texture. I could be off with that read, but I'd expect it to be pretty strong. 2 pair. I'm not going to like freak him out from bluffing him check calling, so that is unfortunate though. I was thinking about small donk. Might be the right play, just exploitatively. Honestly. Not going to lead when king pairs, especially with this hand. It may be good to lead the river small. Check, decide. Bets flop half pot. I think it's overbluffed if he bets river on this run out, actually. Just the value bet quite a bit queen X here. And he didn't. Gonna just build here with jack 10. Snap call. I think this and give up is best. Because ace queen is such a prevalent ace here. I think I will just pot. Or near pot. I'll fold to a shove, by the way. Sounds silly, but I think you have to. Probably. Do you shove worse flushes in that node? I mean, it's like a non-bluffed line, isn't it? Let's donk bet. Deal with the fold equity a bit here. Very good board for range and just like that's not why I'm donk betting, by the way. I'm not donk betting just because it's good board range. I just expect the hand to do well as a donk bet. I can't check raise the spot really. Check call's okay, but yeah, I'd rather just lead here, I think. Betting our hand strength, guys. You don't want none of that. Alright. Noticing you're doing a lot of large bets on turns out of position when it checks through regardless of configuration. Well, generally, a turn probe strategy is over bet check or big bet check or pot check or something like that. Depends on the texture, depends the composition of the value range, depends what you're doing exploitatively. Just depends on a lot of stuff. But yeah, generally that's a good way to go. Yes. Decent way to go. Depends on the spot. A bit too general of a question. Double gutter, 10 of spades. So here, like, we're just building around like an 8. A really good ace queen, something like that, right? I'd just go normal overbet on this card, though. Rather than, like, giant overbet. Good check raise here as well, by the way, but this hand would be totally fine. I think I prefer bet, though. But yeah, there you just want to build around, like, ace queen plus or something with your probes. You don't want to probe anything else for value. In practice there, I don't have an exploit available in sizing. Like, I don't think it's better to size down or size up particularly. I think it's kind of ambiguous, like whatever. Damn, Pete's looking good today. Holy moly. I thought so too. Didn't even sleep well. I actually thought that. I turned on the webcam and I was like, I'm looking alright today. I also looked at like a video. I was going through like an old archive of a Discord chat dealing with some admin shit this morning. And I saw a video of myself in like 2021, like, or 2022. 2021, I think it was, like coaching a guy. And I was like, holy shit, that dude's unhealthy. Like, not the guy I was coaching. Though he probably was as well as a poker player. But me, you know. How long is the new course? It's going to be very, very long. We're going to release it in early access. You're going to be able to get it in bits. We're going to drip feed it to you, and you'll be able to buy it when it's 25% up on Carrot Corner. A new episode dropping every week, that sort of thing. Ace Jack's really close against the sizing. I should have thought more about turn. Everything gets there on river, and he checks turn instantly, which makes me think that he just doesn't have a good hand. I'm going to 2x pot. It's an exploit. Makes me think he doesn't have a draw or a good hand. It makes me think he just has like overpair or worse. And I think we can get overpair to fold with that line. And also just like random pairs and nothing. And if we check, we get bluffed sometimes. The hand does have some showdown. Like, I am turning some showdown into a bluff there, but I think it's okay. The turn timing helps me. Like, it's close, but turn timing helps me execute that play. You flushing, mate? Yeah. You flashing? Says Abe on YouTube. Yeah. Definitely flushing. So just like building up 3-bet pots and taking them down against recreationals is very, very good. Because they play very badly against 3-bets. They don't 4-bet enough, they call too wide, they station too much, and then when they miss, they don't attack enough. Not when they miss, but they don't like semi-bluff, they don't like check raise flops that much. Actually, they do kind of spew sometimes, but whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling. What to do if in big hands, villain always have better? Run better. Or stop calling river in spots people don't bluff enough and where you have a bluff catcher. Stop calling river in spots where they're representing a hand that beats your hand and it's not a spot humans like to bluff in. Don't call just because you have like top pair or top pair good kicker or ace king or you were happy a street ago. Don't call for those reasons. Assess whether you beat any of their value hands, the hands they're value raising or betting river with, and if you don't, ask how often they're likely to bluff that spot. And in most big pots at low stakes, the answer is not often enough for you to call a bluff catcher. That's big pots, big bets. By the way, it's different if someone just bets small. My biggest leak is I just don't fold enough though, so you know. I don't hero fold enough. I know I should hero fold more, but I just don't. How is Christoph doing? He's good. He's in Les Alpes. Says, I'm in the place that you call the Alps. They don't call it the Alps, funnily enough. Can I cold call this? I feel like I can. But you shouldn't cold call a 3-bet. Shut up. Oh no, I lost my scene. I don't have a hotkey for that scene. There we go. Punished. That's why you don't cold call what fish. Punished. That's the wrong scene. That's the golden carrot scene. You guys don't have the golden carrot. You want it, go to carrot corner though. Where's the right scene, man? There we go. You guys don't have it. Don't have the golden carrot. Shame on you, but you can redeem yourself by going to carrot corner and using code CRUSH20. 20% off the golden carrot. I don't want to check raise this hand. I could check call this hand. Actually, I will check call this hand. I'll mix it up. I'll check call. Why not? Why not? Just for a change. The line's fine, right? This is awkward now. Please don't bet giant. Just kind of capped here. The sizing is good. There's something they can call with like a 10 or a king or like ace-x or whatever, you know, just something like that against that line. It's a spot you can bluff really, really big. Because there's okay, more dream spots, guys, with ace-queen. Could have gone bigger pre here, actually. But yeah, let's isolate another recreational. Let's hit top pair queens. Let's win a stack. I'm going to fold to the 4-bet. That's not all in. And all in as well, probably. Right, guys, I'm going to wrap up in a minute. It's eating time. The rest of that chicken noodle soup is calling me. I really hope she hasn't eaten the rest of the chicken noodle soup, guys. I really hope she hasn't. That would suck if she'd eaten the rest of the chicken noodle soup, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it, boys? Would not be happy. Gave it to Ruben earlier, last night. And he was, like, not the soup, but we gave him, like, bits of the chicken and mushrooms and noodles out of the soup, and he just got all the noodles and was just like threw them about all over the place. It's pretty good. Have a 4-bet with Queen 10. Just to mix it up a bit. You guys are no fun. They're just like, I have jacks. I want to see a king. Right, guys, I'm out of here. Break-even session. What can you do? Try to win some money. Won a little tiny bit of money. Won enough to buy like a dime bar, maybe? Or maybe Maltesers. I think we won enough to buy Maltesers. Or Revels. Revels are better than Maltesers, by the way. You know what to do after the video to keep watching me. Go to Carrot Corner. Lots of stuff I've done on there. Professional, rigorous courses if you like structure. If you like academia, check out Carrot Corner, guys. Let's play this King Jack first, though. What an awful flop for King Jack. Yeah. Yeah, just not the hand or the spot. Gotta know when to not go insane. We know villain has ace-5 off, right? We know. We're not giving him money just because he has ace-5 off. We're not just leading the turn. Can we win here? I think we can, technically, blind versus blind. We won't in reality, because the reg just never checks down something we beat here, but it's always jacks or ace-5 or something. But against a solver, they can check like king 8 or something there. King 8 off, you know, a good old small blind 3-bet. Blind versus blind 3-bet, rather. Alright, guys, video coming out later today, I hope, on YouTube. Stay tuned for that. Carrot Corner in the meantime. Get started on your formal education. Use code CRUSH20, and I'll see you next week for more streams. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Run good if you're playing live. Remember, if you're playing live, to put them on Ace King or flush draws. Ask them if they're flushing. They might be. They might tell you. Just ask them. You flushing, mate, yeah? Just ask them if they're flushing. You got Ace King, yeah? Ask them if they've got Ace King. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, the worst they can do is say no. You know? Your biggest leak is using RNG. Depends if I'm using it in the right way or the wrong way. Bongo bingo. If I'm just using it in a spot where I do think the EV's close, I think it's okay. If I'm using it instead of trying to decide which line is better when one line is better, then you're absolutely right. You can be the judge of that, though. Bongo bingo. You got Ace King? Yeah? I bet that guy's got Ace King. It's sitting there. Biggest leak is you're using RNG. Guy's fucking clearly got Ace King. Clearly. To make it so obvious. Right, guys, I'm out here. See you next time. Much love. Bye-bye.